paradox.
All right, guys, it's Jahlon, and today I want to talk about Ashes of Creation. I want to talk about how the last 5 days have been really important for Ashes and Intrepid Studios. Last week, the NDA Alpha 1 testing started. We tested all weekend under NDA, but then yesterday, Steven decided that he was going to take down the verbal part of the NDA. So, what does that mean? It means you can talk about your Alpha 1 experiences, but you cannot show any screenshots or videos. And in my opinion, this has been a really good decision. It's not quite the full transparency, which is what some people are demanding, but it's enough that you know what's going on behind the curtain, even though you can't see behind the curtain. Before I get into my discussion about my testing experiences, I want to make sure to take a quick moment to do expectation management. To do that, let's take a look at what Steven said on both the Discord and the forums. The key part here, of course, it's important to note that the Alpha 1 experience is not meant to be a content test, but rather standing up core systems in their bare bones state and vetting our technical architectures while providing the opportunity for us to optimize and squash bugs. So we talked about this on my show last night. I'm going to chop up that show and get it up on YouTube. The big question people wanted to ask, though, is did the game work? And the answer to that is yes, it worked. Now, some people were concerned about the character creator, that the character creator that I can show you courtesy of the wiki isn't quite the level of BDO customization that some people were expecting. The truth of the matter is that the character creator is content. The creator you got was just enough to make some changes to the model, so Intrepid could get some baseline data and get you into the game. So, yes, that extensive, robust character creator is coming, but it wasn't the purpose of this test. Some of the PvE-minded people, they wanted to know, were there quests? And yes, there were quests. Did they all work? No, they didn't all work, but I wasn't expecting them all to work. That's what bare bones means. Put in a few quests, get some data, put in some partially finished stuff, get some data, see who interfaces with what systems. I will ask my Alpha 1 testers, did you drink the bottle in the crypt? Did you even get the quest for the crypt? Did you read the book next to the quest giver? Do some of you even know what quests I'm talking about? I have talked to a lot of people and they've said they didn't even see the quest to go to the crypt. That's because Ashes of Creation doesn't have indicator lights. Not every NPC has a neon sign over their head that says, hey, I have a quest. Some NPCs will give you a quest if you talk to them. Some NPCs will give you a quest if you talk to them after you talk to other NPCs. This isn't going to be a game like Final Fantasy XIV or World of Warcraft, where you run into an area, collect up all the quests, go do those, and then you come back to a quest hub until they send you to the next quest hub. Some of the quests will take you off to the other side of the map. Where is all this ice coming from? What is starting these fires? Those quests probably had 40 or more minutes of travel time attached to them. That's what Intrepid's talking about when they say the questing in Ashes is going to be immersive. You will be going on adventures, not just doing mindless quests just outside the city gates. For the combat-related people, specifically the PvPers, I do want to talk about combat for a second. I've seen a lot of people wanting to know about the combat. I will tell you right now, the combat is still bare bones. Does the combat feel good? That is a very subjective question, but I'm going to say this. No, the combat doesn't feel good, nor was I expecting it to feel good. The combat feels like alpha development combat. Coming off the Elyon test, the Elyon combat felt much better. And that's because the Elyon combat should have felt much better. Elyon is in closed beta, getting ready to launch this year. Ashes of Creation is still very much in the design phase. The combat revamp is still in process. They still have a lot of abilities to add. In fact, they still have to add 5 archetypes, and then the class system, and then the augment system. So if you hear people talking about how bad the combat was, I want you to ask yourself a question. When you go to the steakhouse, do you walk into the kitchen and pick up a raw porterhouse and take a big bite? Or do you wait for them to cook the thing? Because me, I like my steak to be cooked before I bite into it, and I'm willing to give Intrepid as much time as they need to actually build the combat before I start judging it. I want to talk about the Artisan System for a minute. I know a lot of people are excited for a Artisan System that's not just a tack on at the end of development. Steven said that only 10% of the Artisan System was in the game. I will say that the very minimal, very bare bones that I got to take a look at lets me know we're in for a good system. You need different tools for different gathers, and not just better tools for all the gatherers. You're going to have a wide assortment of tools in your backpack, even for the same mastery. The crafting system and the processing system were unfinished, obviously with only 10% of the system in, but what I could see, it was already going to be more than just go get X materials and make Y item. There were schematics for the component parts. For example, I was making an iron wand, and I had to have a schematic not only for the wand, but also for the handle. This is very similar to Star Wars Galaxies, where they're drawing their inspiration from, where you could take an iron wand, for example, and you could use different handle components, and then the final product would give you different features or different stats. This is going to be something I keep an eye on in later testing. I do want to talk about the server performance for a little bit and loop this in why the delay was such a good thing. I've been testing Ashes of Creation since 2017. I've seen different iterations. I've seen different versions. Each time you can see Intrepid making progress on the things they're working on. Was this build ready for testing? Yes, absolutely. This was ready for testing. They were running parsers and loggers and getting a lot of data. The thing is, those loggers and parsers ended up causing some pretty significant rubber banding. Is this something you should expect in an early alpha build? Yes, rubber banding is something to expect in early alpha. Is this something you should expect in launch builds? It's not, but we've seen rubber banding on live games. Was this build ready for prime time? No, not in the slightest. Even as a content creator, I didn't want this version to be shown off. Because keep in mind, the masses are at the gate, they're pounding on the walls, they're begging to be let in for a peek. And the truth is, what Intrepid had ready for this weekend was a great test build, but a horrible marketing build. It wasn't ready to be shown off. And, keeping with that honesty, the majority of gamers aren't going to keep a level head about the product. They would see the rubber banding during the alpha state, they'd say the game is dead, they'd laugh, and they'd trash the game for the next few days, the next few weeks, until some other game makes a mistake that they can dogpile onto. I want to go so far as to say some of the testers, yes, even the testers who paid $500 to get into this test, were upset that they had to deal with some rubber banding to get to different parts of the map where the rubber banding didn't exist. I heard people say it wasn't worth their time to spend 20 minutes to get to a ferry, to get off the starter area where the rubber banding was the worst, because that was where the highest population of players was. And I just don't know what to make of that from people. You want to be part of something, you want Intrepid to be able to make a great game, but you don't want to endure testing conditions that Steven warned you about, so that Intrepid can get the data they need to make the right changes to the build to give the game the performance that will make the game great. So the bottom line, was the testing fun? Yes, and that's a great sign. It was fun, it was immersive, there was enough stuff to do, kept most people busy for about the 18 or more hours the game was up this weekend. Even with the server issues, I do want to say, even with the wipes, even with the bugs, even with the bow issue, it was still a good experience. It felt like a good experience, and Intrepid got the data that they wanted. If you guys want to talk about more live, do a more interactive discussion, I do stream 3 times a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. If you have a question about Alpha 1, go ahead and leave that in the comments below. I will answer it to the best of my ability. If you're looking for more information about Ashes of Creation, I suggest you check out ashes101.com. It's kind of the textbook lecture series, and it integrates nicely with the wiki that Lex and his team maintain so that you can get facts and citations over there. I will see you guys next time, and make sure to leave a comment on your thoughts and concerns about the Alpha 1 testing.
I say, Sprocket, we've reached the end of another video. Time to thank the sponsors. Yes, that will do, that will do. Shall we pop off for a spot of tea?